So in part 2 of the Chaotic Now or Never archive series that I'm doing, I would like to talk about a few things, but primarily we're going to talk about Dracco Heads. I mentioned a few things in the first video that I actually forgot to include still images for. Two of those things I plan to show right over here to my left, probably for the right to whoever is watching this video. I had mentioned that we had an earlier version of Chaotic that was in between Now or Never and the Americanized version. It was a beta concept that was used for kids' entertainment to kind of like, not necessarily market the idea, but to kind of pitch the idea. About 6 years ago, I came across an individual who had worked with 4Kids Entertainment for a very short period of time within her career, and that was a person by the name of Tynes Norbello. Hopefully I've pronounced the name correctly. Anyways, upon researching, I came across this still image of what was supposed to be the beta version of Slurk, originally known as Bear in Chaotic Now or Never. This is the only beta image that I have, but the information that I was given was that these were images that were not released to the public because this was just to kind of pitch the idea for the character designs, a draft, if you will. Also, I was talking about the fact that Intrus's design that we got to see in the beta for Chaotic Now or Never was not the original design for Intrus. In fact, this card was the original design for Intrus. Why they changed it, I haven't the slightest idea, but we can both agree that the revision of her is so much better compared to the original, considering that the entire artwork is so incredibly dark that you can't really make out too much detail unless you're looking very, very closely. Anyways, without further ado, I would like to continue on with this video and show you guys some more stuff from Dracco Heads that we never really got a chance to really look at. As you guys know, the Adobe Flash Player is closing down within the next 24 hours as 2021 rolls around the corner. And so we're going to continue on with the series as we continue to delve more into the history of what Chaotic once was. So let's first begin by talking about what Dracco Company Ltd is. Dracco Company was a toys and products manufacturing company from the late 90s to the early 2000s, who marketed on a bunch of products such as Dragon Hunters, Dracco Heads. They also specialized in knockoff of Beyblades called Dracco Spinners. We also had another product called Dracco Magnets. And each one of these products were essentially the same concepts but with different toys that offered a variety of different creatures. However, their top seller was a product known as Dracco Heads. Rights to Dracco Heads was later acquired by JoJo's, which was another competing company that made the same product. So what is Dracco Heads? Dracco Heads essentially was a collector's game. With these little monster-based figurines that were supposed to play just like you would with marbles and jacks. You had a variety of games that you could play to get the most out of these little collectibles. The first set featured 40 characters, with the mascot of the product itself being named Dracco. And then about a year later, because of how high the success for this product was, they came out with a second edition known as Dracco Heads 2. Now this one featured a major storyline which would later evolve into what's now called Girls and Gorks. The idea of it was that it was 41 characters, specifically 40 of them, who were on the ship that crash landed due to being caught in a meteor storm or an asteroid belt that sent them pummeling into a nearby planet. During the impact, certain characters were mutated, and they decided at some point to split off, and that's where the 41st character, Twin Head, came into play. It was a fusion of two characters together. The reason for why this product is so important to Chaotic is because the product Girls and Gorks was the very basis of what Chaotic Now or Never would later become. In the image that I'm going to show right here, you will actually see in the rule booklet that the same gaming format is the exact same for Now or Never and the American version of Chaotic. You still play it in a pyramid structure. You still battle and move your characters in strategic ways. The only difference is that Girls and Gorks was specifically targeted towards 8-year-old kids. So there wasn't too much in the game mechanics, just, you know, build points, collect cards, collect characters. They never really expanded the franchise. You had 41 characters, you had 8 locations, and then you had another card known as the Dracco Stone, which would later be changed to the Chaos Rock and later on the Kapaka. Dracco Company has been in business for well over 20 years, and in recent years, actually as of May of 2020, recently had to file a few suits for nearly almost going bankrupt. They lost over 90 million, and they actually ended up giving the company over to a Catherine Dunstan. There was 2 brothers that originally ran the company, but they gave it over to her, and the name for Dracco Company was changed to Bliss, if memory serves. Yeah, Bliss Distribution Ltd. They still do make toys, but their main leading product at this point, outside of trading cards, which is just another third-party manufacturing company for things like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Duel Masters, their main product happens to be a horse-based game collecting series known as Philly. There's even a cartoon and a series for it. You might as well consider it the UK version of My Little Pony. We're not going to talk about that because that deviates from the topic at hand. Dracco Company has gone under fire for multiple reasons, simply because of their marketing has kept them situated where they have been for the last 20 years, with no real hope, at least in my opinion, with no real hope of actually coming out of it. It's important to note that they have such a major part in the important history of Chaotic, and so this video is actually dedicated to Dracco Company Ltd.
I want to take a look back at a game I used to play as a child one last time because Flash Player only offers it for a few more days. We're looking at what is left of the codec for the Dracco Company Ltd website. Unfortunately, none of these buttons are active. You cannot click them. I mean, you can, but they don't take you anywhere. They don't do anything. This used to be the login feature for Dracco Company's old website, and of course the link to their main site. Now, let's go back. Alright, so this is what's known as Dracco's Sawmill. This was a flash game similar to Donkey Kong on the NES and Atari 2600 that I used to play as a child as well. You have 2 features here. One is supposed to load the high scores and everything that allows you to scroll through, which unfortunately you can no longer read. And then you have this button that was supposed to do submit, but this takes you back. The first button is the beginning of the gameplay. Very simple. You have Dum Dum Sawmill, who is... Dum Dum was the leader of the overworld in Dracco Heads 2. So this game is essentially a combination of Dracco Heads and Dracco Heads 2. But what you're looking at is a green version of Dum Dum, who also happens to be based off of Dracco, who was the original mascot for Dracco Heads. Very simple. You collect dynamite, you light the dynamite with the fire, avoiding the logs as you go. You make it up to the top, and then you destroy the mill. The more you get, the higher the score goes, and the faster it gets, the further you go in the score. But one cool feature is the fact that if you want to avoid a log, you can jump up on the tree and wait to get past. Now, I like this little guy because he's funny, he's cute, and he's fun. He's entertaining. Now, another thing with the game is if you wait too long, this is what happens. It usually takes about 10 to 15 seconds. Boom. Now, you only get 4 tries before the game ends. So you have to be quick. And it's cute. Watch what happens when he gets hit. Oddly reminiscent to somebody getting hit in the nuts. It's cute and enjoyable. And there you go. That's what happens when you complete the game. My highest score was actually in the millions, but unfortunately I can no longer prove that. Let's see what happens if we click the Dracco logo. So this is all we have left of the Dracco Heads website. There used to be a scroll bar over here where you could switch through or search through their brands, but that is no longer there, unfortunately.